Part 114. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 1133. Mo's whole body was shaking. She wanted to ask for help, she wanted to call someone. But the only person she could call to could not give her any response at the moment. Mo's whole body was trembling. She was now sure that something must have happened to her senior. If he was fine, he wouldn't be like this. After all, no matter how passive Mo was, he knew very well that the man in red wanted to obtain something through himself, and it was impossible for him to deprive him of what was given to him. So, what happened to the senior? Mo remembered what he said before, he was going to meet Jin Li. Meet Jin Li. Jin Li. Mo thought of the woman with the celestial face. Could the disappearance of her senior have anything to do with her? But when we met, I didn't see anything strange about her. No, that's not right. Mo thought of the inexplicable panic she felt when she saw Jin Li in the afternoon. Could it be that the senior's matter really had something to do with her, so she felt flustered when facing her? But since she is so capable that she can even deal with her seniors, why not have a showdown with herself? Mo couldn't figure it out. She had a splitting headache. She squatted down, held her head with both hands, and even used the strength to pull her hair. The source of physical pain is far less than the panic in the heart. Her creative abilities were gone. This is all the guarantee that she can live the life she has today. If she can no longer create or write good songs in the future, what else can she do? She can still. Oh yes. She also has a beautiful voice that is praised by fans as a natural sound. Mo remembered something, stood up quickly, cleared his throat, and said, "If I ever make a wish, on a night when the east wind blows down the fireworks, there will be." This was the first song she composed herself, and she sang it subconsciously. However, after singing only a few words, she stopped with a pale face. There was no need to continue, she knew the answer. Just like those amazing creative talents that are suddenly given. Her beautiful voice, which fans praised as natural, ethereal, and unparalleled in the music world, has also disappeared. Instead, there was a white voice from 3 years ago that could stand out in the class, be a top performer at KTV, and yet be ignored by everyone. Everything goes back. Those things that did not belong to her in the first place and were taken from others were lost at this moment. She remembered something, hurriedly walked into the bathroom, and began to look at the people inside. Fortunately, the person in the mirror is still the same as before, fair-skinned, beautiful and cute. Mo couldn't help but stretched out his hand and touched his face with some fear. All talents and skills have been lost, so can this face, which was also given by seniors, be retained? Or is it just like the changes that have been made bit by bit over the past 3 years and more than 1,000 days, will it return to the original track day by day in that order? She didn't dare to think about it. Her legs were weak, and she didn't care that this was the bathroom. She just lost all strength and slid to the ground. It's over. Everything about her was finished. She covered her face and cried out in the quiet bathroom. Asterisk. Jin Li, who lived upstairs, heard the crying. She was a little depressed. I blocked her mental activities, but I can still hear her. Isn't she a little too emotional right now? Lu Zhenjia also heard it, and he said lightly, I guess the truth. In this situation, it would be abnormal if we could continue to remain calm. Third update, see you later. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 1134. The couple looked at each other and decided not to care. Jin Li blocked Mo's emotions again. By the time Mo finally calmed down, it was already dark. There were no activities in the evening. The guests all chatted in the WeChat group and each ordered their own takeout for dinner. Mo forced herself to calm down, opened the WeChat group, and started browsing today's chat history from top to bottom. Ignoring all the meaningless water groups, she finally understood what tomorrow's program would be about. The next stop, the destination of the journey, is the sea. The sea is a favorite place for many people. Of course, since we are participating in this program, we cannot just stand on the beach and watch as usual. Their destination was a quite famous island area, and the program team had chartered a private island in advance for filming convenience. By then, guests will have to experience, in addition to ordinary sightseeing, deep-sea diving and speedboat surfing. Mo is essentially a timid little girl who has never played any exciting sports. Both events are difficult for her. If today's accident had not happened, she might have howled in the group hundreds of times. But at this moment, nothing could compare to the accident that happened to me. So she just continued to scroll down with an expressionless face. After quickly reviewing all the chat history, she put down her phone. I didn't eat much for lunch because I had something on my mind, and I hadn't even started eating at night. His stomach was protesting, but Mo had no desire to eat. She sat on the bed and sat blankly for a while, then got up silently. He took out his makeup bag, patched up the makeup that was mottled from crying, and looked in the mirror to see if he could meet someone. She got up and went straight upstairs and outside Jinli's room. Strange, why did she come to us? Jinli was a little surprised. Did she guess it was related to me? Lu Zhenjie said, the man in red came to us, probably through some communication. As he spoke, he looked at Jinli. Do you open the door? Jinli nodded. Now we are teammates participating in the show together, so of course we have to open the door. Lu Zhenjie didn't say anything, stood up and opened the door. As soon as Mo entered the door, he was shocked for a moment by the overall layout of the hotel. But it was only for a moment. She had big things in mind, and these external objects had a limited impact on her. Jinli looked at her. It's so late at night, Mo, why did you suddenly think of coming to see me? Mo looked at her. The other party's expression was natural and there was no clue about it. This made her couldn't help but wonder. There was no evidence for her speculation. Could it be that this matter really had nothing to do with Jinli? Yes, she came here just to test Jinli's tone. Mo smiled and said, actually, I've been wanting to chat with you ever since I knew Jinli that you would participate in the same show as me. Jinli? Oh? Why? Mo showed a longing look, because I have watched the two programs you have participated in before, the thrilling Uninhabited Island and The Koi is Coming. I think you are very magical and amazing. Jinli smiled politely at the compliment. Mo continued, I remember that you were very lucky. You were the lucky one every time, and you were very strong. Our entire dormitory was made a fan of you. Also, you said that you were a member of Suanman. She moved closer to Jinli, lowered her voice, and asked as if asking for a secret, what is Suanman? Are you really a member of Suanman? Good night. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Su Xiao Zheji. Chapter 1135. Mo had a casual look on his face, but he was always paying attention to Jinli's expression from the corner of his eye. She thought she was hiding enough, but she had no idea who the two people standing here were. Jinli was amused, so he followed her words and answered, what do you think? Huh, Mo didn't expect Jinli to answer like this. She was stunned for a moment and then said, I think you are really a member of Suanman. She looked at Jinli seriously, let's not talk about anything else. It's not normal at all to have such incredible luck. Also, ordinary people are very strong, how can they be as strong as you? Jinli looked at her with a smile, since you already have the answer in your mind, why are you still asking me what to do? Didn't you deny it? Mo was shocked, and even wrinkled when he spoke again, are you admitting it? Jinli looked calm, what is admission? I remember I said it on the show a long time ago. Mo thought of some of the past facts about Jinli that he had researched in the past few days and fell into silence. Indeed, Jinli himself said it in front of the camera in the program from the beginning, that Jinli was a member of the Suanmen. It's just that most people only thought she was hyping up and didn't take it seriously. Her mood was very complicated. Since Jinli said that she was a member of Suanmen, it seemed to make sense that it had something to do with the disappearance of her senior. Mo pursed her lips and continued to ask, so, as a member of Suanmen, besides being extremely lucky and extremely strong, do you have any other skills? Jinli grabbed a handful of fruit, put it in her hand, and asked Mo if he would eat it. Mo shook her head. How could she want to eat now? Jinli sighed when he saw this is good food, it's hard for ordinary people to eat it. Mo took a look at the fruit. It was bright red, about the size of a thumb, and looked a bit like a cherry, but it was not a cherry. It looks really good. She really didn't know him. Mo thought that Jinli was showing off how precious the fruit was, so he agreed with her perfunctorily, this fruit looks extraordinary, and most people will definitely not be able to afford it. Jinli tilted his head to look at her and saw that the woman didn't understand what he meant, so he stopped talking. There are too many benefits for mortals to eat the Zuguo of the Chaos God realm. Since Mo doesn't want this fate, let her go. She threw a fruit into her mouth and answered Mo's last question, what other skills do you think I have? Mo thought for a while and asked, like in the TV series? Flying into the sky and escaping from the earth? Can you do wonderful magic? Jinli said with a smile, some of them are right. There are some? Which ones are they? Is it flying to the sky and escaping to the earth? Or a spell? Mo felt so anxious that she wanted to speak directly and ask Jinli directly, does the disappearance of Senior have anything to do with you? But she didn't dare. If Jinli hadn't done it, then she would have exposed a big secret in front of him. If Jinli made it? It couldn't be said directly, even those who were so powerful as seniors fell into Jinli's hands. If you don't know anything, how can you come back with all your strength against Jinli? She thought about it distressedly, and then had no choice but to test further. Then, have you Suanmen people seen those mysterious things? The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Su Xiao Zheji. Chapter 1136. Jinli blinked and looked at her, what are the mysterious things you are talking about? Mo didn't know why, but suddenly he felt a little nervous. She quietly grabbed the seam at the edge of her skirt and loosened it without leaving any trace, still looking curious. That's right, it's just some weird and magical things, like monsters, spirits, gods, ghosts, etc. She said while observing Jinli's reaction. Jinli's reaction did not disappoint her. Her expression suddenly became meaningful, and she looked at Mo, I didn't expect you to be interested in these. Mogan smiled and said, everyone is interested in these. Really, Jinli said with a thoughtful look, it's true that these things exist. It's true, have you seen it? Mo suddenly raised his voice. Jinli looked surprised, why are you so excited? Mo, ahem, I'm so curious. Jinli said with a smile, don't get excited, no matter how excited you are, you won't see me. Mo. Lu Zhenjia sat quietly on the sofa on the other side and read a book, letting Now Po trick the poor little human girl around. Mo asked cautiously, then, What have you seen? There are too many. Julie began to talk seriously. For example, there are elves of flowers, plants, and trees, they are so beautiful. There are also some rare ancient relics that have become spirits, and the souls of those who have just passed away are so beautiful that they are ugly. I've seen all kinds of scary people, those scary ones, let me tell you, the ones who died in a more miserable state, that guy is scary, that face. Mo. The complicated thing about her, interrupted Jinli's description, I don't really care what you look like, Jinli, let's talk about the key points. Jinli looked confused. Hey, don't you think it matters what you look like? I was just going to tell you that I just saw a spirit 2 days ago. He was wearing red clothes and he was pretty good looking. Mo. She asked anxiously, what? What kind of good looking spirit? What does he look like? Is he a boy or a girl? Jinli, didn't you say these are not important? Mo. She reacted suddenly. She looked at Jinli, are you testing me? Jinli tilted his head, looking innocent, what temptation? What are you talking about? Mo said nothing as she began to recall in her mind everything she had experienced tonight, from the very beginning when she came to see Jinli until now. Too stupid. Too obvious. She thought she was good at acting and could pass the test. But she forgot that the person in front of her, before she retired from the industry, was a woman who won numerous awards for her documentary film and was directly regarded as a goddess by fans. When it comes to acting, how could she possibly deceive the other party? Jinli has been playing with herself. She raised her head and smiled somewhat self-deprecatingly, since you have seen through me, why don't you make it clear earlier? Isn't it fun to play with me? Jinli did not deny it, I am a good senior in the entertainment industry. If you are a young junior who wants to play games, of course I will accompany you for a while. Mo stopped smiling and looked at Jinli intently, with a pleading tone, so, have you really met Senior? How is he doing now? Jinli asked back, since you know he came to see me, then why did he come to me? You must also know. See you later. The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 1137. Mo was startled and lowered his head as if to cover up, I don't know. Jinli finally had time to throw 2 red fruits into her mouth, filling her mouth with sweet and sour juice. She laughed, if you don't know, why are you feeling so guilty in front of me? Mo raised his head, I'm not guilty. Jinli clicked his tongue and said, we're all here now, why don't we all open the skylights and speak out? She said, your senior came to me in a very arrogant manner. He first praised me and said that I was unparalleled in beauty. I think his praise was quite reasonable. But what he said next was called I'm a little unhappy, guess what he said? Mo felt her heart being squeezed together, and she shook her head, I don't know. You don't know, then I'll tell you. Jinli glanced at her and said word by word, he said that I am beautiful. He wants to take away my beauty and give it to you. Clang. Mo moved his feet and kicked the low table in front of him. The cup of tea fell down and fell onto the carpet. She said with a pale face, no. I really don't know about this. Jinli looked at her calmly, you know, I have a good temper most of the time, but I also hate many things. You know what I hate? Mo shook his head. Jinli smiled slightly and raised a finger, first, I don't like others to be too arrogant in front of me. Unfortunately, your senior is very arrogant. Not only arrogant, but also very arrogant. So I just wanted to hit him when I saw him. Mo. Jinli stretched his body and leaned against the cushion behind him. The cushion was a little low, and a hand reached out from the side to adjust the position of the cushion for her to make her lean more comfortable. It's Lu Genja. Jinli sighed comfortably and continued to look at Mo and said, of course, This is not very important. Mo, huh? Jinli said calmly, what really makes me angry is that he actually tried to slap me in the face. I get a little angry when I mention this. Jinli touched her face, the beauty of the little fairy is unique in the world. There are so many people in the world who envy me, and he is the only one. But someone like him is so bold that he dares to make direct decisions. Yeah, I really haven't seen a few of them. She straightened up and looked at Mo, tell me, what should I do if I'm so angry? Mo was shocked and speechless by Jinli, who was in full aura. Not only that, she even felt as if the air was stagnant and her breathing was not smooth. She subconsciously reached into her pocket and held the bracelet tightly. What did you do to Senior? She asked. Jinli snorted, a little dissatisfied, what did I do to him? If he really follows my temper, I have to let him experience a beating from the little fairy. Mo heard the hidden meaning in her tone and couldn't help but look forward to it. But what can I do with him? Now I can abide by the law, little fairy. Jinli sighed, of course I will send him where he should go. Mo. These words sounded a bit scary, and she said with a pale face, You killed Senior. Jinli. What nonsense are you talking about? Just as she was about to speak, her expression changed and she pointed to the door. Okay, here is the person who can answer your question. 3 updates, check out and see you. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 1138. Mo. She turned around with a confused look on her face and found that the door, which had been closed tightly when she entered, had been opened by herself without the 3 people in the room getting up to open the door. Mo. Then, something even more shocking happened to her. A person came in from outside the door. Someone she never expected. How? Mo stood up from the sofa in shock. To be precise, he jumped up from the sofa. You. She pointed at Long Hao, even too surprised to say a complete sentence. Long Hao glanced at her lightly, walked to the other side and sat down on the unoccupied sofa. Didn't you say you won't tell her for the time being? He frowned and said to Jinli. Jinli. This conversation seems a bit familiar to Yazi. Oh, she remembered. Long Hao also spoke to himself in the same way when he was dealing with the man in red. Then, her answer can only be the same. Jinli sighed and was also very helpless. You can't blame me. They came to the door themselves. Long Hao. He obviously also thought of a certain scene that seemed familiar to him. Only Mo, looking at the scene in front of him and listening to the familiar and unobtrusive chat between the two, suddenly realized something. You have known each other for a long time. It was obvious that this conversation could not have happened with people who had known each other for a few days from the show crew. Also, the topics the two of them talked about were related to themselves and their seniors. Therefore, Wen Hao is not a simple person. Mo felt his eyes darken. What is all this going on? Long Hao glanced at her. Miss Mo, please calm down. I can't calm down now. Mo suddenly cursed. She is a little depressed now. No one would have known that she was wrong from the beginning, that she was terribly wrong, that she was terribly blind, and would not be much better than her current state. She was panting heavily, her chest rising and falling, and her eyes were fixed on Jinli and Long Hao. So, can you tell me now, what is going on with all this? Jinli looked at Long Hao. Long Hao frowned and looked at Mo. Miss Mo, your question is not quite right. Mo was stunned. What? Long Hao looked cold. What on earth is going on? Shouldn't you ask yourself this question? His tone was flat, but the words he spoke were not flat at all. Jinli and I are just here to participate in the show. It's you and your bonded spirit who want to steal someone's beauty and take my body. Besides, it's you who came to our door. Jinli glanced at Long Hao and felt that she had seen it right. This guy looks serious, but he's actually very bad. He clearly said before that he was here just for MOMO, but now he just came to participate in the show. MOMO. She felt as if she had been stabbed. But Long Hao was not a pity person, he even wanted to continue stabbing. Didn't you bring all this on yourselves? Why do you ask us? MOMO. She wanted to argue that it wasn't so. But when I think about it carefully, it seems that this is indeed the case. Her violent arrogance suddenly weakened. After a long while, MOMO asked in a low voice, "So, now, can you tell me, Senior, where is he now? What happened to him? Good night." The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Su Xiao Zheji. Chapter 1139. Jinli spread his hands. You have to ask him about this, because people were sent to him. Momo looked at Long Hao. Long Hao said, he is not a normal human being, and has harmed ordinary people with the help of special powers. Now, of course, he has gone to where he should go and accepted the sanctions of the laws of the flower country. Momo asked in confusion, does the law of our flower country still care about this? Jinli responded, are you talking nonsense? As long as you stay on this land for a day, you must abide by the rules here. When Long Hao heard this sentence, he glanced at her and murmured lightly. The meaning was obvious, no one can say the sentence more convincingly than you. However, the little fairy was obviously the one who remained calm despite the collapse of Mount Tai. She did not care about Long Hao's eyes and sat calmly in her seat. Momo was obviously deceived. She looked at Long Hao in shock. Who are you? She didn't believe that the other person was just an ordinary martial arts instructor before, she thought he was a rich second generation from a wealthy family. But now, it is obvious that the other party is not a rich second generation. How could an ordinary rich second generation know about this unnatural power and still say such things as sanctions? Jinli said and looked at Momo, are you sure you want to know his identity? Momo frowned, what do you mean? Jinli, you should have heard of a saying, there are some secrets, and the more you know, the worse it is likely to be. Momo. Reason told her that Jinli was deliberately scaring herself. But emotionally she was really scared. What happened before her eyes was obviously beyond her expectation. She looked at the smiling Jinli, the indifferent Long Hao, and Lu Zhenjie who was sitting and reading as if he had nothing to do with everything in front of him, but when he heard such shocking things, he didn't even move his eyebrows. A chill ran down my spine. All three of them frightened her. She stood up immediately and was about to leave. Yes, she wants to leave here. Not only does she want to leave here, she doesn't even want to stay in the show anymore. No more recording. If she breaks the contract, she will break the contract, and if she loses money, she will lose money. She doesn't want to have anything to do with these three people anymore. However, the reality is that she can't just leave if she wants to. Miss Mo Long Hao's cold voice stopped her walking out. Don't leave in a hurry. Since you came here tonight and opened up the conversation, then sit down and let's talk about what we should talk about together. Mo's back stiffened. I have nothing to talk to you about. Don't be like this, Jinli said, I advise you to cooperate, because if we don't want to let him go, there is no way you can get out of this room. Mo turned around and glared, you. Jinli smiled and said, that's right, I'm threatening you. Mo. She stared at Jinli with an extremely ugly face, turned back angrily and sat down. What do you want to know? She asked stiffly. Actually, it's nothing. If I want to know, I just need to look at your memories and thoughts. Jinli spoke lightly, watching Mo's expression change with satisfaction. But this is not good after all. I am not a devil who likes to pry into people's privacy, so it is better for you to speak for yourself. Mo. She asked, do I have the right to say no? Jinli nodded, of course, you can refuse, but you have to say it in the end. I'm sorry. Escape. The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 1140. Mo. So the so-called I can refuse is just fart? She gave up on herself and said, what do you want to know? Just ask. Long how did you and Wenju, the weapon spirit, meet? Warmju? Mo was stunned, did the senior actually call him Wenju? This was the first time she knew the other person's name. What's funny is that it came from someone else's mouth. She slowly told her story about how she spent money to buy the jade pendant when she went on a trip. Long Hao nodded and asked, then what kind of contract did you and Wenju sign? What did he ask you to do? Mo hesitated for a moment, and Long Hao said calmly, I advise you to tell the truth. I have 100 ways to test whether what you say is true or false. Mo smiled nonchalantly, stop threatening me. Seniors have been arrested by you. You have such means, what else can I do to resist? She slowly recited the contract between herself and the man in red, and said it in quite detail, such a magical thing, no matter how long it took, she would never forget it. Jinli listened and finally nodded to Long Hao, Mo was telling the truth. However, Mo remembered these details in such detail, but he definitely didn't know one thing. Mo Jinli called her name, I guess the man in red definitely didn't tell you what the full name of the contract is, and what kind of power do you have in this contract? Mo frowned, what? Jinli smiled, it is not easy for a weapon spirit whose spiritual consciousness is on the verge of collapse to find a contract owner who is compatible with him. As for the weapon spirit and the contract owner, you should know what the relationship between the two of you is from the names. Mo's eyes widened. Jinli said, you are his master, you can ask him to do anything you want. In this relationship, he needs to rely on you, not you need him. Mo was shocked and said, is that so? Jinli nodded, of course that's the case. He should have been very weak when he found you. If you are unwilling to sign a contract with him, he will probably not have time to wait for someone who can match his spiritual consciousness. So, you are his life-saving medicine. Mo froze on the spot, unable to react to what Jinli said. Is that so? But Senior clearly said. He said that he helped you and saved you. He is the giver, right? Jinli added to her words. Mo nodded blankly. From the beginning, Wenju acted like a master in front of Mo. He was aloof and always disliked and disdained Mo under such circumstances. When Mo faced him, he lowered his head at the beginning. The further he went, the more cautious he became, treating him as a life-saving straw. Jinli knew what she was thinking by looking at her expression. She laughed and shook her head, it's only someone like you who has no understanding of Suanman magic who can be manipulated by him so easily. Mo thought for a while and said, no matter what, Senior always treats me with more kindness than others. If it weren't for Senior, I wouldn't be where I am today. Tisk, I said you're stupid, but you're really stupid. Jinli looked at Mo and wanted to curse. She looked at Long Hao, big ice cube, tell her, which one is more, what she gets or what she has to endure. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 1141. Mo looked at Long Hao doubtfully. Long Hao looked at her. Do you know why I suspect you? Mo frowned. What suspicion? Long Hao, at the beginning, we found abnormal energy fluctuations in many people. Although the fluctuations were very subtle, they were still detected. Later, after in-depth screening, we found that these people with abnormalities had all done one thing, and that was listening to your live concert. Mo was a little shocked. Can you guess this? Long Hao glanced at her and roughly understood what she was thinking. He said lightly, our flower country has had the theory of reincarnation since ancient times. Although the things you take from those fans are extremely small individually, they are extremely large in size. A small amount becomes a big amount, and over time, when the evil force returns, there will be such a huge backlash. Have you ever thought about it? Mo didn't think about it. In fact, she didn't even know about the backlash. Senior, I never told you, right? Long Hao asked. Mo nodded blankly. Long Hao's face was expressionless. Of course he doesn't need to tell you that everything about the weapon spirit is to serve the owner of the contract. Even if all the benefits are for him, when the holiday backlash comes, it's all on his master. Mo shivered. His master, is me. Long Hao looked at her. What do you think? Mo suddenly raised his head. How can I be sure that you are not lying to me? Jinli said casually on the side. Does he have any need to lie to you? Do you know how busy Team Dragon is? Long Hao. He glanced at Jinli coldly, not wanting to speak. Besides, you don't have much confidence in your heart when you say this, right? Because you know that what we said is more reasonable. Mo clenched the corners of his clothes tightly and asked, then, what if it backfires, what will happen to me? Hearing this, Jinli glanced at her and said nonchalantly, it's not that big of a deal, right? It depends on how big the sin you have done is. The lighter one will let you experience the feeling of having your emotions stripped away for the rest of your life. The more serious one, it will be fine, just pay for it with your life. Mo. Is this nothing? Isn't this what you call it? So what is it? Jinli seemed not to notice the confusion in her heart, and said, by the way, I remembered that your talents and skills were all given to you by your weapon spirit, right? Now that his spiritual power is sealed, the trick I tried to try on you won't be effective. Mo was shocked. Jinli actually knew this? Don't be surprised. How could I not know about such a trivial matter? Jinli said. If you have the chance, you will be even more surprised in the future. Mo. Let me see. Hey, your creative skills and talents are gone, and your face that was beautified with magic will slowly change back. Jinli looked at it and couldn't help but shake his head and sighed. How can I say that you people are good? That weapon spirit of yours obviously had a better way to improve you, but he chose to use the most convenient and trickiest way, which is also right. You are the one with the least practical use. You are even more stupid. You obviously have a treasure trove, but you asked him to arrange a few famous teachers for you, learn something seriously, and take it into your own hands. It's great, but you still take shortcuts. See you later. The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Su Xiao Jiaji. Chapter 1142. Jinli continued, if you have mastered something through learning, it will not disappear no matter what. She looked at Mo and sighed, but there was not much pity in her tone. Unfortunately, you didn't do this. What's the saying in the flower country? Jinli raised his head and thought for a moment, things that are too easy to get are also easy to lose. Mo sat there blankly, looking stunned, not knowing what he was thinking. Jinli glanced at Long Hao. Do you have anything else to ask? Long Hao nodded. Of course, I hope Miss Mo can tell all the conversations and plans between you and Wenju. Mo came back to his senses and said with a wry smile, everything is nothing. Wenji and her had nothing to talk about except contracts and transactions. The other party often didn't show up for several days, and she didn't dare to disturb him. She could only slowly tell the two of them everything she knew and could tell. Long Hao listened slowly. After Mo finished speaking, he looked at the two of them with some anxiety and hope. That backlash, can you help me solve it? She was frightened by what Long Hao said. She once thought that flowers, applause, and praise were more important than anything else, but after hearing what Long Hao and Jinli said, she realized that her talent was gone and her beauty was gone. Although it was scary, in the face of life and death, it seemed that it suddenly doesn't matter that much anymore. She might die. This realization made it impossible for her to think of anything else. This is what Long Hao is waiting for. We can't help you with this, you can only rely on yourself. Mo, on my own. Jinli said, why do you think Wenji wants you to get those emotions and desires through a concert? He is really that powerful. Wouldn't it be enough to just deprive those fans of those things? But it's because, firstly, he doesn't want to bear the backlash he's about to suffer, and secondly, he can't do it. With such a huge fan base, Wenju would not be able to do it if it were not for the idol Mo. And if he could get those emotional desires, he wouldn't dare to trick Mo into giving them to him by default. Momo gave it to him so that he could get it. Jinli explained this to Mo. After all, Mo wasn't really out of her mind. She immediately understood the meaning of Jinli's words, you mean, I go and get these things back? Long Hao nodded, yes, in fact, a large part of it has been absorbed by Wenju. We have a way to peel off the absorbed and refined part. You go and return them to those people. Mo was a little confused, why pay it back? Long Hao, you just need to do what we say, and you will understand naturally when the time comes. Mo, oh. Then, when will we return, she asked. Jinli said, it's better to choose a different day than to hit it. Since you're here, let's do it now. Mo, now. Long Hao was also surprised and looked at Jinli, it's better to be fully prepared for this kind of thing. Jinli yelled, with the little fairy here, we are the most complete preparation. She didn't even get up, she raised her hand, her fingertips filled with spiritual light, and drew a pattern in mid-air. The pattern quickly grew in size, fell to the ground, and the brilliance circulated, turning out to be a complicated formation. Long Hao, who witnessed all this? Do you gods arrange formations so casually?